I just have a really deep question, and I hope you're going to be able to answer it for me. Who are you following? Welcome back to our new series. We are discussing Lose the Weight, dropping the hangups and habits that sabotage our life. And today we're going to be discussing really the power of influence and how it can be a weight that trips us up in our journey in following Jesus. It's said that the average person spends about 2.5 hours every single day on social media. And I think the statistics are actually lying because I feel like I spend hours a day just every 3 minutes opening up my phone, checking and seeing what's the newest story, what's the latest reel, what's going on in the world. What is this person doing? Where are they posting? Do I want to do what they're doing? Oh my gosh, it looks so much fun. What am I missing out on? Yeah, I think we spend way much more time online than we're really honest about. And today, I think we are going to need a refresher of what it means to drop the habit, drop the weight of influence, and how that plays such a powerful role in our life. And if we're not careful, that it will be a weight, it will be something that trips us up and keeps us from running our race in Jesus. Now, if you're like me, maybe you might need a refresher in social media and a refresher in what the difficulty is for it. So, here are a couple of things that come from spending too much time online. You get distracted from chores or exercise or family time. Like, you don't actually do the things you want to do. It disrupts your sleep. It creates gossip. It sets unrealistic standards, and people get anxiety from that. You then have this poor esteem, and then you tend to burn out from overuse. And we know that spending too much time online is bad, but why is it so hard to stop? Before we get into that, my name is Mariah. I'm a certified Christian mental health coach, and I'm here to help you grow in emotional and spiritual maturity through biblically based holistic practices. What that all means is that I want you to have an emotionally authentic faith, and I'm here to help you grow in that way. If you want to learn more on what that might look like practically, I made a free guide for you. It's in the link in description. And this guide is a 3-day prayer to help you engage your faith and your feelings. So be sure to check that out. Also, follow me over on my Instagram page where we have conversations like this and more. All right. So, why is it so hard to stop spending so much time online, especially in the social media apps with all the influence and everything that's going on? Well, apps are designed to keep our attention. They have figured out how human behavior works, and it's a lot simpler than you and I might think. You remember the old saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future? We're designed for connection with one another, and these apps know that. So they have intentionally created rhythms and patterns that reward our brain to stay online because it's chasing after this instinct part of us that wants to connect with another person. The only problem, when you go online and you see someone that you follow, maybe you might know them a little bit in real life, but you know them more because of their online presence. You think you really know them until you try to go up and say hello. And then you just feel like awkward. And I think what happens with social media is our brain does the same thing that happens when we use a card versus cash. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but really your brain understands that a transaction occurred when you use cold hard cash. And it doesn't understand that when you're swiping your card because it's just not clicking this distinct transaction that occurred. And I think the same thing happens to us when we're online. We think that when we send a like or we make a comment or we do a DM, like that's a transaction, and it is, but it's not clicking in our brain, and there's just like this big disconnect between real life and online. And so we think we're being connected with people, but we're really not. But the app is telling us, it's making our brain be rewarded every time we go on, that yeah, you are connecting with people, but like maybe you're not. And without us realizing it, our brains are being influenced by this little 6-inch screen. So today I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about who is influencing you and how to break the influence. Because the Bible warns us that bad company corrupts good character, and we know that it's important to have real people in life, but it's also really good to examine who you're following online, because even if you don't really know them personally, they are still influencing you. And so what do you do? How do you measure that influence? Well, we go back to what the Bible says, and the Bible has a great standard found in Philippians 4:8. And it's just the Philippians 4:8 method. I didn't coin it. It's kind of been around since the Bible's been written. But I think these are good questions for us to ask on the accounts that we are following online. So we're just going to go through them. Is it true? Is this account accurate, factual, and honest? Is it honorable? Does this account speak life into the online space? Is it just? Is this account upright or innocent? Is it pure? Does this account keep my heart clean? Is it lovely? Does this account create beauty? Does it inspire me? Is it of good report? Do they have a good reputation? And these are just a few questions that I think will really help you filter what accounts you are following online. Because remember, our eyes and our ears are the window to the soul. And so we want to be very careful about what we're putting in front of our eyes, what we're listening to, because that is going to directly influence what direction we go in. And if we're not asking this mindful question from Philippians 4:8, then we're going to just let life take us in a direction that we were not meaning to go. Now, I'm not telling you to not engage with different accounts or not, hear what other people are saying, but I think it's a really good litmus test for us to check that to make sure that we are being mindful and intentional about the time that we are spending online and what we are putting in front of ourselves. Not because we're trying to create this little like bubble, but because we want to make sure that our life is going in a direction that we want it to be. And it's really hard because, like I said, the apps are designed to help our brains function in a certain way. And that means that if you are just feeling like it is hard to get out of that vortex, you might need to do a couple of things to help reset your dopamine because your brain is actually designed to release dopamine through a reward system. And so dopamine is there for your pleasure, it's responsible for that. And social media helps create this constant cycle of dopamine. So you stay in an addictive state. And that's what makes it really difficult to break free from that. However, we're going to talk about what you can do to break free. It's probably nothing you haven't heard before, but sometimes we just need to be reminded. Let's go on a social media detox. Delete the app. Take a week, take a month, take that time, whatever it is that you think you need, and delete it. Don't just like log out of it, but like actually delete it. Take intentional time off of social media because those cycles of dopamine that are going, when you go cold turkey, your brain's like sputtering out like a car's trying like stalling trying to get started. That's not a bad thing because it has lowered your ability to actually interact with people when you're on that dopamine cycle and you're not actually doing longer form rewards that help you really engage with the world around you. You're just wanting those short bursts of pleasure, and that is good for a small period of time. It's not good to stay in that constant cycle. So delete the app, go cold turkey, stop feeding that cycle. And we're going to talk about how to create a more sustainable rhythm of what that looks like. Before I talk about that, I want to remind you to reset your perspective because the thing is, when we want to delete social media, our brain is telling us we're going to miss out on a lot, that we're losing out on things, that we're giving up. But I want you to reset your mind and think about what you're gaining back. You're gaining back clarity. You're gaining back energy. You're gaining back focus. You're gaining back your ability to connect with people around you, that you're not a zombie on a phone, that you're actually able to look into the eyes of the other person in front of you and really engage with what's going on in their life. You're getting that back. And if you're really struggling seeing it that way, ask God for a different perspective because He didn't make you to live your life just based off of a screen. You're meant to live life in living color. So ask God for a different perspective and know that you are going to be detoxing. So it might take a minute for it to reset, but it's going to be better in the long run. And then finally, reward yourself. So, like I said, one of the sustainable ways that we want to be able to get out of that social media haze is by creating a reward system that is better for us. And we have a reward system. God created that way because otherwise I would never get anything done. Like I wouldn't. If I didn't find pleasure and enjoyment from setting a timer and challenging myself and cleaning my house and doing those things that are so annoying and mundane but necessary for me to function in peace and in enjoyment, God created that reward system. And so we have to reward ourselves with better ways to engage in the world around us than just scrolling on our phone. So here are a couple things that I suggest that I personally find enjoyment from, and I think you might bake a new recipe. For me, I love being able to just create something new with my hands, and that is so rewarding and lasting. So create a new recipe, find something fun to make. Set a 5-minute timer and do a speed clean. For me, I love the challenge that comes from that, and maybe you might too, especially if you hate cleaning. Take a short walk with a friend. Really connect with someone in real life and say, hey, you want to meet up and go for a walk? I love being able to do that because I feel like I'm much more grounded and centered in real life when I'm able to do that. Play a new card game or a board game. And I said new. Like, you can do something old and fun that you enjoy, but the novelty of newness will help your brain kind of make that new rhythm and balance of leveling out those dopamine levels. And then write a letter to your future self. Take the time to think, who do you want to be? What person do you want to become? And write what you're going through right now, and see what is it that you want to grow into. When setting new patterns and goals, it's really important that we reevaluate our influences, that we are looking and examining what is giving us the reward and the enjoyment, and is that something that lines up with what God's word says? These are habits, hangups that we may not realize trip us up because we're just so used to it. But I promise you, if you take a step outside of that, of the social media influence, and really examine it, you might find that deleting your account for a little bit is actually going to free you up a lot more than you realize. And when you go back into social media, because it's good to go away and then come back, being aware of our human reality is very important when engaging the online space. But when you go back online, think about who you're following. Ask yourself, maybe it's a good account, but it's just so much information coming your way. Maybe you need to pause the other person that you're following for a minute. Maybe they make really good things. Maybe it's even my account. That's fine. Just pause it. Go take space, clear it out, and simplify your online space so that way you're able to actually show up online and in person in a way that is authentic and engaging, that influences according to God's standards and not just letting it come at you without any type of filter. And then one other thing I do want to remind you of, while we enjoy the online space and while it is important, I do value and I highly encourage you to find a mentor, to listen to good podcasts, to find good YouTube channels, to read good books. Those things are the eyes in the window to your soul. And I want you to just reevaluate what type of media, whether it's social or not, you are allowing to influence your life. And you might find that reevaluating what you are seeing will help you drop the weight that you didn't realize you were carrying. I hope this video was encouraging for you. Be sure to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. What social media accounts do you love following that bring life and joy, that follow that Philippians 4:8? And tell me, have you done a social media detox? What has it been like for you? What has been successful for you? Be sure to leave that comment below, and I will catch you in the next episode.